On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Star by Belly. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Medalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters bringing a lot of gravitas.
Yeah, a lot of gravitas.
We're two professional broadcasters. So professional. We like metal and we like to talk about it. But it's September, one of the 2 months out of the year that we like to take some time to specifically talk about albums that are not metal, that we nonetheless enjoy very much.
Sure, because there's lots. I mean,
we're both just generally music people.
Right.
We like music in general. We really like metal, but we listen to all kinds of different things.
Right.
So we take some time to talk about stuff that's not metal every once in a while. And this is one of those times.
It is.
An album from 1993 by a band called Belly. This is their debut album. They made one or two more albums.
I think one more.
One more in the 90s, and then they have another one that came out in 2018.
I didn't realize they got back together. So mostly the same members?
All the same members as their last album from the 90s.
Nice.
Which is one different from when this one was recorded.
Okay.
The bassist changed shortly after this album was released. They've been back together for a little bit, and a new album in 2018, but nothing since then. We'll talk more about this later on. First, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm a little bit sleepy today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, I got to cut back on a job. One of my jobs, I got to cut back on it. I'm getting a cumulative sort of exhaustion.
Yeah.
That's creeping in on me. And I catch myself staring off into space a lot more than I used to.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe
but I'm fine.
One night less a week at the bar, maybe.
Maybe one night less. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can swing that.
I'll try to maybe supplement it with something else. Maybe do a delivery drive service or one of those things.
I don't know.
Make a lot of money on those.
Sure. I don't think that will solve your tiredness problem, though. In fact, I think that will make it worse.
I mean, if I do it for like an hour a day, not like all night.
I don't know.
Might compensate for my one night less.
I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with your financial situation to advise you.
Broke.
Okay.
Broke. Yeah. Well, I just bought a 2025 or 2024 vehicle.
A new car
that I got to pay.
A new car. So I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So maybe I'll just do this, what I'm doing now, just 6 more years. And then.
Just 6 more years.
Just 6 more years. And
then you'll retire.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll retire.
And then you'll retire, and the rest of your, you'll never have to work another day in your life.
What I'm going to do is when I retire, before then, if you don't mind, Kale, I'm going to give you a list of songs they can play at my retirement.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll keep that in mind for when that happens.
Yeah, because you know how my retirement party's going to go, right? There's going to be an urn.
Funeral, yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you're all tired out. I'm feeling pretty tired as well, but not for in excess of work. It's I think I've been having trouble sleeping the last couple of nights because there's something fucked up with my shoulder.
Oh, right.
I don't know. I don't know exactly what I did, but
you was doing something very manly, something very heroic.
I think I know what I did, which is on Sunday I was doing laundry and I noticed that I had not put my sweatshirt in with my laundry, and I wear my sweatshirt a lot, so it needs to be washed. So I hand washed it in the sink. I just put some detergent in the water, mixed it all up, put sweatshirt in there, but it's a pretty big sweatshirt, and I think it might be 100% cotton.
Sure.
It's extremely absorbent. So it retained a ton of water. So I had to wring it out. And because it is so absorbent and held so much water, wringing it out was a bit of a process. And I think I may have done something to my shoulder in the process of wringing out my fucking hoodie.
You were wringing out a sweater, tore a rotator cuff.
Yeah, or something. like I don't know what I did. I don't know if I tore something, or if I strained a muscle, or if I have in some way mildly dislocated my shoulder.
Right.
I just know that if I hold my arm out down by my waist, at like a perpendicular to my body, and try to hold something or grab something, if it has any amount of weight to it, and I have to activate the muscle of my shoulder with my arm held at that angle, my shoulder joint feels like it's going to move away from my body.
Wow.
In the wrong direction.
So jumping jacks are out of the...
Jumping jacks would actually be fine, because that is just,
I suppose.
that's like if my arm held out straight from my side is fine. It's the kind of a twisting motion.
Gotcha.
That's making my shoulder feel real fucking weird.
You could have just hung up the sweater.
Well, no, I couldn't have.
I guess,
it was holding 20 pounds of water. Air drying it wasn't going to do it unless I wanted to leave it outside for a week.
And it's been raining, so.
Yeah. No, like I did end up having to air dry it. Like I wrung it out, threw it in the dryer with the rest of my clothes when they were done in the washing machine. And then when it was done after an hour and a half in the dryer, I still had to put it outside for a couple of hours before it was dry. The dryers here fucking suck, which I've talked about many times. And I'm very excited to not really have to deal with in the same way. I mean, I don't know if the dryer in my new apartment is going to be great, but at the very least, I won't have to pay for it piece by piece.
Right.
A
month.
Yeah.
1 month.
1 month. I also, something that I could have been doing a while ago.
Yeah.
I haven't done yet. But supposedly wool dryer balls work way better than traditional dryer sheets.
Right.
And they also don't put that like sort of plasticky film on your clothes that builds up over time.
Or the scent.
For me, the dryer sheet scent really depends on what dryer sheet it is.
Yeah.
Right. Like some are worse than others.
Like I work at a bar, and we have certain customers that come in that smell only like Bounty. That's it. Bounty and cigarettes. That's all they smell like. And it just, to me, I start gagging. It's awful. It
doesn't, I guess the dryer sheet scent doesn't bother me quite so much, but I don't know. I tend to use a decent amount of dryer sheets because I'm trying to get my clothes to fucking dry faster because the dryer fucking sucks. So maybe I won't have to do that anymore.
I wonder if they use the same ingredients in dryer sheets they used to, because it used to be animal fat is what it was in the dryer sheet.
Now I think it's pretty much all synthetic, which also is apparently, microplastics and carcinogens and all of that wonderful shit.
We should go back to whale fat.
Yeah. Supposedly the wool dryer balls work pretty well and they're reusable up to a certain point.
Right.
You can put some certain kinds of oils on them to impart some scent to your clothes.
Sure.
Nice fresh scent.
Now, I do recommend if you want a nice fresh scent to oil your balls. I think
oil your balls.
That's very important.
Well, specifically oil your sheep balls.
Yeah, exactly. Your sheep balls.
You want them to be nice but
yeah.
Apparently they work well. A lot of people swear by them, and I guess another thing with dryer sheets is that they cut down on static, which is like when your clothes are really fucking staticky. That I hate that. It sucks.
Sure.
Apparently the wool dryer balls work for that as well. I don't know.
I think even better is it's just chunks of granite. If you just
throw chunks of rock in there.
Yeah.
They're really heavy ones too.
Right. Maybe a bowling ball.
Yeah. Throw a ball. Have you ever seen videos of people throwing like a cinder block into a dryer that's spinning really fast?
No.
It's awesome. It's terrifying. but it's awesome because it like it starts to the dryer destroys itself and will start like gyrating up into the air. It's got some of the same vibes of like a runaway helicopter. It's beautiful and terrifying all at the same time.
Runaway helicopter.
Yeah. There's no segue into this.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this before yesterday.
Yeah.
But because I was talking last week about how excited I am about Space Marine 2.
Right.
Going to be coming out. It actually is out. If you buy a more expensive edition of the game.
Oh, so you got to buy the deluxe or the whatever?
Yeah, the gold edition.
Gotcha.
I believe it comes with some extra stuff and 4 days earlier than the other edition, the basic edition of the game. So I bought it.
I knew that was going to be the end of that sentence.
So I paid $90 for
$90. Have you started playing it?
No, I downloaded it an hour before you got here. So
are you doing it on PC?
Yeah. So I have not had an opportunity to play it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Reviews generally are pretty good. Most of the criticisms I have seen are things that were also criticisms that were leveled at the first game, which I enjoyed anyway.
Right.
And they, reading through them, was like none of them seemed like deal breakers to me. Apparently the online aspects of it, like the multiplayer, both the like the PvE co-op and the PvP servers are not working very well right now. Which I can't say I'm surprised by, because they were going to have a multiplayer beta, which they canceled.
Oh,
in order to focus apparently development on making sure other things were working well. But it's like, isn't part of the beta making sure the game works well though? Like, why did you cancel the I guess they kind of figured that the multiplayer aspect of the game was not the most important thing to focus on secondary before launch. Which I kind of agree with. I mean, I'm certainly the type of gamer where if a game has a single player mode, I play that and finish it before I even touch multiplayer. So I think they were probably keeping that in mind, of like, most of the people who are going to be buying this game because they are fans of the franchise, both fans of the first game and 40K in general.
Right.
Most of those people are probably going to be playing the single player anyway and be playing it first.
Right.
So we might as well make sure that is all nice and polished up, and then be working on multiplayer fixes post-launch, which is maybe not the best way to do things. It would be great if everything was in working order before the game launched,
right.
But it does seem logical to me. So I can't say I'm particularly bothered by it. I'm excited no matter what. I mean, I was probably going to, like, it would have had to be pretty abysmally bad for me to like not pick up a copy at least at some point. And it really did not. All indications seem to be that things would be pretty good going into it. So
nice.
That's what I'm expecting. I'm trying to keep my expectations relatively measured, and not get too overhyped for it. But it looks pretty darn good so far. So I'll have to play it once we're done.
Right on.
Which means this is going to be a short episode.
Yeah. I'm OJ. Anyway, so I found out today as I was going through streaming services this afternoon, as I'm munching down on some dinner, I realized that something I said to you earlier was inaccurate.
What did you say to me earlier?
I said that I was caught up on Rings of Power.
Oh, you weren't.
There was one episode that had come out.
There was another new episode.
Yeah,
okay.
And I watched it.
And?
It was...
Oh, no.
It was okay.
Did they... So we haven't talked at all about Rings of Power Season 2.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen any of it, because I kind of don't care.
Yeah.
When Rings of Power season 1 came out, which feels like forever ago. I mean, it was more than a year ago.
Right.
But it could have been 4 years ago. It could have been, a year and a half ago.
Because it's not something that's stuck in your memory.
Yeah. Other than the things that bothered me about it. Like those things stayed. But like there were enough things that bugged me about the first season that I kind of decided that I sort of didn't care about this newest one. I've heard from a couple people, including you, that so far, for the most part, season 2 is better than season 1 was.
Yes, agreed.
That they, took some of the criticisms from the first season and sort of course corrected.
Yes.
Which has maybe that's gotten my interest back a little bit. There are still some unavoidable plot holes or things that I don't know how they're going to fix, like, things that will continue to bother me. For example, Gandalf being
just
there,
a stranger,
several thousand years early.
We don't know.
Isn't he in search now of something called his Gand? I heard a friend of mine told me about that. He's searching for a thing called his Gand.
And they introduce a new character. Well, a character that is new to the screen from
Tom Bombadil. Yeah, Tom Bombadil's supposed to be helping him. But it's obviously Gandalf. When he did big magic for the first time at the end of the first season, the fucking moth showed up.
Right.
Like, we get it. It's Gandalf.
And there's also... are you going to watch it?
Spoil it. I don't give a shit.
They also have another... is it Ishtar? What are they called? The wizards?
The Istari.
Yeah, Istari.
Is it one of the blue wizards?
No, I mean,
is it Saruman?
Yeah, it's clearly Saruman.
Okay.
And he's being kind of a bad guy, and I thought that was kind of a twist.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the case. Saruman was fine for quite a long time.
Right, and then he was twisted
like he always had some flaws that Sauron preyed upon at the end of the Third Age.
Right.
Many thousands of years into his, not many, like, I think the Istari were in Middle Earth for like 1,500 years, I want to say. Like they came in like halfway through the Third Age, which is still several thousand years after when the TV show takes place.
Right.
But that doesn't make a ton of sense to me that Saruman, upon his introduction, would already be a bad egg.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like 100%, but he's bad enough to where you'd say he's a heel. He's a bad guy.
That doesn't quite make a ton of sense to me. No. But one of the other plot bits that bugs me. Yeah. Which I imagined when they introduced it in the first season that they were probably going to build up to, some sort of a twist of like, oh, Galadriel said this, but actually she doesn't know, is her talking about how her husband's dead. About how Celeborn, is dead and has been for a while, even though he's in the Lord of the Rings. Right. He's in the Lord of the Rings. He appears. He's there, very much alive. And it was so clear to me in the first season that the only reason they had that be a plot point is so they could have sexual tension between Galadriel and Sauron. Like, that's the only reason they had her think her husband would be dead. And they were setting it up as like, oh,
turns out he's not dead.
She's going to have some sexual tension with Sauron. And then, surprise, her husband's alive. And he's going to be like, what is going on between you and Sauron? And it's going to be a fucking soap opera bullshit. But have they done anything with that so far in the second season? Has Celeborn showed up and been like, surprise?
No, really? he has. Wait a minute. I'm trying to think. I mean, she knows he's
alive.
Yeah.
She somehow learned that he's not dead.
Right.
Okay.
Also, he's helping someone make stuff.
I mean, these are the.
Yeah.
Wait, are you? No, are you talking that? That's not Celeborn.
No,
that's Celebrimbor.
That's Celebrimbor.
Celebrimbor was he was in the
first. Did he do that? Why did he make all their names so similar?
I mean, because it's a fake language and their names all mean something, and so there are only so many words.
I mean, his son was worse.
Which one? Christopher.
Yeah.
Well, Christopher didn't come up with most of that stuff, though. That was all still based on John's notes. So old John Tolkien.
John Tolkien. Jack Tolkien. So, yeah, because, you'd have names that are 15 letters long.
Yeah.
And these two people are talking, and their names are the same except for one letter.
Yeah. And people think George R.R. Martin is bad. Yeah. Like, no, this has just been a thing with fantasy writers since forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing. The problem, the criticism with Elden Ring, where people are like, they all sound the same. It's like, yeah, but it's themed. They have a theme. It's supposed to give you imply a continuity of language and culture. Like the names fit together, and you can tell that they come from the same language.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is annoying, but how many people do you know in real life who have the same fucking name?
Oh yeah, tons.
So yes, in a work of media, it is kind of annoying, and you want to be able to easily tell the difference between characters just based on their name. But from a sense of realism and believability, that does not. That doesn't, to me, it doesn't harm anything.
There was a period for of a few months where I had to deal with at least 5 Jesses. Yeah,
so many people named Jess.
Yeah, somebody would bring it. Hey, I was talking to Jess. I'm like,
which one?
Yeah,
you're gonna have to be more specific. It's one of those things where I'm. That problem has never really occurred for me.
Yeah,
because I have my name's pretty rare. So I've almost always been the only Kale in any given room.
Right. Unless we're actually talking about actual kale.
Unless talking about the leafy vegetable.
Mm-hmm. Or the food.
Yeah. There was a time in college where, around some of the theater people, there was a girl, her name was Kaylee.
Mm-hmm.
And despite the fact that I was around in there, they started calling her Kale as a nickname. And there was several times where they would call out to her or talk to her, and I would turn around and be like, what? And they'd be like, not you. And I'd be like,
that's my fucking name.
Yeah, they'd be indignant about it and be like, fuck you guys, that's my actual goddamn name. It's not like you're calling out for John and 5 people turn around. That's my actual name, and no one else in this goddamn college has it. You
know what I think would be hilarious is if you had guests and you served them all kale smoothies.
But one of them isn't green.
What's in this one? Real bits of kale.
What? Why is it crunchy?
Why is it chunky?
Those are my toenails. I hope you're enjoying your toenail smoothie. I don't know why I'm talking like this. It becomes very creepy.
It's a kale spoon. And you're missing your eyebrows when you head into them.
You'll never guess what part of myself I put in this. This could just be a coincidence. Do you want to talk about Belly?
Yeah.
So Belly is an alternative rock band, probably the easiest genre appellation you could give them is alternative rock.
Yes.
But there's definitely a ton of other genres kind of shoved into this. Although they're all genres that are generally comorbid in any piece of music.
Yeah.
Especially at this period of time, you have alternative rock is very broad, a very broad sort of category. But
well, dudes listen to it too. I mean,
sure. But just on Wikipedia, you have alternative rock, but also dream pop, avant rock, folk rock, jangle pop, post punk, avant pop. Like they're all kind of names for kind of the same thing,
right?
And almost any work of music that has that attached to it will have those other, some number of the other ones attached to it as well.
The Venn diagram is pretty tight.
Yeah. Which we'll actually continue to explore next week with an album that's extremely similar to this.
Sweet.
That I did not know before listening to this album how similar they were going to be. Which we mentioned last week. Next week, I want to talk about a Mazzy Star album from the same year.
Right.
It's probably all the same genres from the same year as this album. But if you don't know much of anything about Belly, Belly was founded in the early 90s. By vocalist and guitarist Tanya Donnelly, who had previously performed with bands
Throwing Muses?
Throwing Muses and The Breeders.
Right.
And eventually put together a lineup with a bunch of people that she already knew and had been working together. You're smiling about something.
Yeah, we should at least listen to The Last Splash at some point. It's a Breeders album.
Oh, okay.
The same goddamn thing.
This whole month, let's just talk about late 80s or early 90s, like spacey girl pop.
All right.
This whole month.
We could go until this time next year.
Honestly, yeah, that's a lot of albums.
A lot of albums.
But there's so it was Tanya Donnelly. Also on this album, we have Fred Abong, who's on bass, as well as Chris and Thomas Gorman. Chris Gorman on drums and other percussion, and Thomas Gorman on guitar and the organ where applicable. That lineup changed pretty quickly after this album came out. Fred Abong left the band and was replaced by Gail Greenwood, who would remain with the band until they broke up after their second album came out. And then they got back together with that lineup before their third album released in 2018.
Right.
But this album was kind of an unexpected success for the band. They didn't quite, expect it to get as much recognition as it did. The single Feed the Tree was on the top of Billboard Modern Rock tracks for March of 1993. And some music videos got made. Their next album underperformed in comparison to Star.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, I believe that one was called King. Yes, it was called King from 1995, and did not quite get the same amount of attention as this album did. It seemingly got your attention at one point or another. When did you become familiar with this album or band?
Well, I saw the video for Feed the Tree on the music television when they used to play music on the television.
Music television.
Yeah, and
what could you maybe abbreviate that for me? That seems like it's so.
Yeah, sorry,
that's so many letters and words.
Sorry, VH1. So and here's the thing is that and the other way I became acquainted with this was we went to Lollapalooza in 93.
Lollapalooza, is that the one in Austin?
That travels.
Lollapalooza travels. Okay.
Yeah. We were at the Target Center is where we were.
Okay.
And we're at our hotel. It's me and a bunch of dudes travel from here down to there and we got really wasted. And then one of the guys who's sort of the main criminal of our friend, he went out and somebody was taking their stuff out of their hotel room to take it down to the car, and they had a pile of CDs. He's like, "Oh, cool." So he steals a bunch of the CDs, and one of which was called the Stoli Tracks. It was sponsored by Stolichnaya Vodka.
I've never heard of that brand.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get it anymore. I don't know if it's still up there. This was 30 years ago. So anyway, he's looking at these CDs, and he stole them, and we And we were driving home, and the Stoli tracks had just all sorts of alternative music that we'd never heard before. I mean, we were all kind of metalheads already at that point. And we're listening, and this was the Feed the Tree was on that as well.
Okay.
Like, yeah, this is cool. And there was a lot of other stuff that, I really ended up enjoying also, but it was because of a stolen CD from a hotel. Well, two CDs.
I mean, hey, sometimes that's how that shit works.
Mm-hmm. It was a great concert. It was a great weekend. Yeah,
part of me misses my younger days.
Shut the fuck up.
But when I was in college and it was easier or like even when summers when I was in college, when it felt easier to drive to Fargo and on to Minneapolis with my friends just to go to a concert and whatnot. And now it just feels like I don't want to have to take time off. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have to drive all that distance just to
drive back
and then drive back when I'm exhausted. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be there at a concert and it's going to be loud and there's going to be so many fucking people.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I've turned into a real fucking buzzkill.
At 28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I just can't, it's been that way for a while. I feel like that started to happen pretty shortly after I was done with college. Like, it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. That just seems like a lot of work.
I'm that way. I've been that way for quite a while. I'm that way with family. Yeah, remember my parents were living in Minneapolis for a while, and they're like, "You should come down. We're doing a thing." And be like,
I mean, that's not a short drive.
It's not.
That's what, 9 hours?
9 to 10. But if you have kids, it's at least 10 hours. But
because it's like
I've done it in 7.
It's a little over 4 to Fargo, and then it's that again,
right,
from Fargo to Minneapolis,
right. So Fargo's not quite halfway.
Yeah. So it's a little over. Or is it? I thought it was a little over halfway.
Is it over halfway?
I don't know. Because Minnesota's not quite as wide as North Dakota is.
Right, but it is on the other side of Minnesota and south.
I always forget just how close to the eastern border of Minnesota the Twin Cities are.
Yeah.
They're you got to go through most of the state to get to them.
Right. I remember one time going to a concert down. We went to see Typo Negative and the Cradle of Filth. Mm-hmm. It was me and this Greek girl I was dating.
That would have two bands that I would have been so deeply uncomfortable in the crowd.
Yeah. It was we had a great time. It was a good show, and it was
this was the woman that you slow danced to Cradle of Filth with?
Yes.
Okay.
Right there, we were just sort of doing like, we were in junior high or something.
Yeah. Were you leaving room for Christ between the two of you?
No. So we ended up in Wisconsin. Like after the concert, it was like a 10-minute drive to her uncle's deer shack that we slept in
the woods in Wisconsin.
And it was hard to sleep because I could hear the rats all night.
Oh, that's always nice.
Yeah. I hoped it was rats.
Might have been bats.
Might have been.
I mean, any large city on Earth, there's going to be rats.
Right, but this was in the woods.
Yeah. But near to those places. Right. I don't know if I've actually ever seen a rat.
Really?
In my time.
Like actually
plenty of mice.
In person?
But I mean, I've seen a rat in person, but not like, as a pest, as vermin.
As a pet.
I've seen pet rats, of course. I've been to pet stores, but like, I'm not sure I can remember ever seeing like a honest to God rat.
Really?
Just scuttling around someplace, because it's usually been mice. I feel like mice are way more of a problem around these parts.
I remember for a while there, between cats. Like when we moved back into when I was married, we moved back into our house after the flood. Mm-hmm. We had a serious mouse problem because we no longer had cats. And so I'd be sitting there, having a cocktail in front of the TV at, 9 o'clock at night. And then see just this mouse just walking across the floor. I could have sworn too. I saw his little paw go up and flip me the bird.
It's like, what are you going to do about it?
I'm right in the fridge, asshole.
Where's your fucking cheese? the last couple of times that we have been deer hunting, there is the son of a family friend has a lineman business out in out in western North Dakota.
Is he a lineman for the county out there, or is he?
You're making a reference to something that I'm not familiar with.
It's Glenn Campbell.
Okay. I think he does work for the county.
Okay, yeah.
I think or at least his business does work for, that would be McKenzie County, I think.
Oh, okay.
But they have like a house there that the linemen stay in while they're out working, 2 weeks on, however many weeks off.
Sure.
And during hunting season, we stay there. But they have a bunch of like mouse traps out there, and the way that the traps work is that they have a board that goes up into a 10-gallon bucket.
Okay, I've set those up before.
Yeah, and then the bucket has a like a dowel through the middle of it that has a thing around. I think usually a cardboard tube around the dowel that spins, and so you put a little bit of peanut butter on the cardboard tube. The mice walk out onto it. The tube flips over. They drop into the water, and then they drown. And you can hear them scratching at the sides of the bucket until they get tired and stop being able to swim, and they drown.
So at least it's a humane trap.
Sure.
We had a pet.
They seem to work real well.
We had a pet hamster. We set that up for. Didn't have the drowning portion, but our hamster got out and we set one of those up.
Yeah.
And waited. We just waited for him, and then eventually he's like, "Fuck it, dude. I'm over here." He just came walking out. It's like, there's no food down there. I don't know how I got here. Can you just pick me up? And come here.
Can you please?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
It's the chillest hamster that's ever existed.
Yeah, he was a very chill hamster.
Hamsters not typically known for their relaxed behavior.
Well, he was starving.
Yeah.
Starving to death.
He had no energy to
he's like
immediately bolt away from you at the first possible opportunity.
Right. He'd been hiding from us, for hours. Hadn't eaten in days.
I feel like hamsters kind of suck as pets.
They do. I bought a hamster for my daughter who's now 29 when she was small, and he would not let me get anywhere near his cage to feed him or change his bedding, and he starved in his own shit.
I'm sure, I'm sure there are ways to make them more sociable and handling them and whatnot, but compared to a lot of other like rodents kept as pets, they kind of seem to be pretty low down on the list of ease of care.
Right. They're dicks.
Yeah. Like chinchillas seem to be all right. Rats
are chill in the name.
Rats are fucking great.
Yeah, they are.
Guinea pigs are a classic for a reason.
Right.
But hamsters seem like they kind of suck.
Or a mongoose. Those are great pets.
Yeah, classic rodent, the mongoose.
Yes.
Definitely
not a weasel.
Definitely not a member of the weasel family.
Right.
And
not a mustelid.
And therefore more closely related to dogs.
Right. And also, it's really a mink. A pet mink is great.
Yeah.
You ever petted a mink?
No, I've never petted a mink.
You know how I know that?
How do you know that?
You have two hands.
They haven't been bitten off.
Yeah. If you hold a mink up close to your ear, you know what you can hear?
The sound of your ear being gnawed off.
The sound of you being attacked by a mink. Right.
I keep wanting to make a joke about Mink Stoll, the actress who appeared in multiple John Waters films, but I can't come up with one.
And a mink stole is also a thing you put around your neck.
Yes, which is where her stage name came from. But
wasn't her real name.
It was not. You may know her from Pink Flamingos or Serial Mom.
Yeah. Well, you probably, if you know from either of those, Serial Mom is the movie you would know
her specifically from,
right? Because
she's the star of that movie.
Well, I mean, she's not the star.
Isn't
Serial
she?
Mom. No, that's
I thought she was.
No, that's the mom in that movie is oh my god.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different John Waters movie. Sorry, continue.
Okay. No, yeah, that's why am I forgetting her name? Oh my God, she's got the husky voice.
Yeah. I you are correct. Now I don't remember. I don't remember what John Waters movie I'm thinking of that Mink Stoll is the star of.
Yeah, I don't.
We were talking about Belly at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So by the way, the name of the band was chosen entirely just because Tanya Donnelly thought it was a word that was both weird and pretty at the same time, which I kind of agree with.
Yeah.
Belly as a word is kind of like there's something that is both kind of unpleasant about it and also pleasant about it.
Kathleen Turner.
Okay. Yeah. The word belly is kind of like an ugly dog.
Right.
It's like a pug where you're like, I can't figure out if that thing's hideous or adorable. So that's where the name came from.
Right. It's a cute little touch your belly, but also not my lifestyle.
Belly.
Get in my belly.
Get in my belly. Which is what I guess the other members of the band said to Gail Greenwood when they needed a new bassist.
Get in my belly.
Get in my belly.
Yeah, after she was done touring with her husband, Lee.
Who?
Lee Greenwood.
Okay.
And I'm proud to be an American.
I didn't know the name of the guy who sang that song. I would have made an Ed Greenwood joke.
Yes, that would have been
the creator of the Forgotten Realms.
Right, sure.
But
we're dumb.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
There was something else I was going to
And then I threw you off track.
I don't remember what it was.
Something about John Waters.
No, we were done with John Waters.
Something
we were talking about the band again.
The band Belly, the name Belly.
It doesn't matter anymore. Does this album slap?
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
I mean, yeah, in the sense that it's a good album and it entertains. It is a bit slow. There's not many songs on this album I would describe as a bop.
Right.
It does have some energy here and there, but predominantly it's more of a slower album.
Yeah.
As far as tempo of individual songs go, there's not a lot of real like rock your face off songs in here.
I mean, there are some.
There are some that approach that certainly.
Right.
But score came out to 79.4.
Sure.
Based on the reviews on the Wikipedia page. What's your favorite song on the album?
You know what? The song that always comes to mind is "Dusted." That is the song that, because if you listen to the lyrics to that song, something fucking wrong going on there.
Yeah. I feel like that's a fair amount of the lyrics. There's
true.
just like there is an underlying level of sort of some amount of darkness on a lot of that sort of underlies these songs. Part of that, I think, is there's a vibe with the classic, 90s alternative, slightly out of tune guitars.
Yeah.
And sort of weird, kind of fragile guitar tones. That was just sort of the thing at the time.
Yeah, and it's also a lot of stuff that's kind of pretty on the surface.
Yeah.
But if you dig anywhere beneath that, it's not quite.
And on that topic, my favorite song is the song "Low Red Moon."
Sure.
Which, partially because of the name and also just because of the way it sounds, it reminds me a lot of like Chelsea Wolfe.
Okay.
Huge Chelsea Wolfe vibes. The name specifically calling to mind the
Wolf Moon.
Yeah. Well, no, the Converge album.
Oh, sure.
Chelsea Wolfe and Converge. Called Blood Moon, bringing that to mind. I've whenever I think of that album, I was like, I should take some time and listen to just Chelsea Wolfe on her own, and I never get around to it.
Right.
But that song made me think a lot of Chelsea Wolfe, and now I want to listen to that collab album again.
Yeah, Converge.
Blood Moon. It's a good album. We've talked about it.
We have.
So what medal do you bestow upon Star like Maskanada to Chewbacca?
I mean, I give it a solid silver.
I agree with you. It's solid silver for me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's enjoyable. It's, didn't knock my socks off necessarily,
right.
But,
this is I think I've told you this before. This is the album that you go into our local record store, and then they had a big used section.
Right.
Everybody bought this album, but also
everybody's returned this
album because they listened to the shit out of it, and
they're like, I'm sick of this. So next week, we've already mentioned we're going to talk about an album that is very similar to this one. We're bringing some low vibes into the start of September, I guess. So next week it's going to be So Tonight That I Might See by Mazzy Star, which is from the same year.
Yeah, and had a big hit.
Yeah, definitely it had a big hit. And so, yeah, we'll talk about that next time as we continue a non-metal September. Septiembre. Until you hear from us again, why don't you go ahead and follow us on social media pages? We're on Facebook and we're on the website formerly known as Twitter. You can also go ahead and subscribe to our feed on whatever podcast service you're using to listen to us right now.
Sure.
Thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kel.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.